Check it out. The world won't understand you. Hey, but it's okay. Said the world won't understand you, 'cause I made you in my own way. Said the world won't understand you. Life may move fast, story may move slow. I met a silly man who said he make it slow. We look up out towards space, or even at the sky. One that gets away, but never look inside. Breathe in, breathe out. Life is a maze, but we'll figure this out. I mean, human beings, I ain't got no doubt.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 51 of In a Good Way podcast. Today's very special guest is a good friend, Clint JūN Gamboa, an amazing singer, one of the best, vocalists I've had the privilege of working with. And he also does many more things, which we're going to talk about. So welcome, JūN. It's an honor to have you here.
Thanks, man. It's an honor to be a part of this. It's cool to see, like from when we first met, just doing music, that in itself was a cool thing, but to see over time what other things that people have to offer, you know what I mean? This is cool to see other facets that people have, so
absolutely, man.
I think the podcast thing is a really cool thing that people are doing, so I'm with it.
No, for sure. And it's crazy because, when I started, I already had that experience in the world of music, and I'm sure you can attest to that. Like just at first when I started, and then when people would cancel, last minute cancel, all that shit, it got really, and I know we're not supposed to cuss within the so but I was just saying, because this is technically my 50th episode. So this is a great episode for me, because I forgot that I had done episode 19 and YouTube deleted it. I got my first warning for that because I was saying some stuff that had nothing to do with whatever they said, but they blocked my video. So technically this is actually my 50th one, right? So getting to 50, so this is, I'm excited about this episode. Even though I just did a little one that said 50th episode, but this is actually my 50th episode because they deleted. Cool. Yeah. So, but just to think, at first, after the third episode, I was so many people and they just would cancel, and so it was frustrating. And I'm just glad I stuck with it, and it's been very rewarding, right? Everybody, their stories, everyone has stories, and that's kind of what songs are too, right? Everyone's just telling their stories in whatever creative way they can. And so here it's like a raw story, right? You get to really dive into what people have experienced. So, it's cool. So yeah, man, it's been a long journey since I met you. I don't know if I ever told you this, but I'm going to share it anyways, real quick before we get into the whole story. So to me, meeting you was a really big thing in my life, whether you know it or not. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I don't know if I ever specifically told you that, but I'm going to tell you why. Because, we have the same birthday, right? So we're we're birthday twins, right? We're both June 9th, right? Geminis and all that good stuff. And it was funny because we both do music, everything. We're both, not to toot our own horns.
No, I feel you.
We're good at what we do, right? And so anyways, but when I met you, I remember you were like this ball of happiness, right? And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, why is this guy so happy? Because at that time, I think, but maybe you didn't see that part of me because when I was around music, I was happy, right? But people that knew me, some people thought I was the angriest person that they knew, right? That I was just this ball of anger, and I was, all this quick-tempered and this and that. But when I met you, I was like, it flashed me back to as a little kid. And I was like, that's how I was. That's how I'm supposed to be. I am happy. Deep inside, I am freaking... The world made me this way, and it gave me that up. No shit. I was happy at one point, and the world treated me cruel. It made me into this monster. You know what I mean? So in a way, that's So in a way, that's
literally.
So
not to interrupt. Sorry, I'm sorry. I have to interject. Literally the same story, yo. I you know, it's the same with me. Around music, I'm a happy person. Around things that I love, that's when I'm the happiest. But there are other moments when people see when I get really angry and I'm just like blowing the roof off the house. You know what I mean? Like people see that, and but I don't. I feel like a that could be, you know, like a Gemini thing, but I feel like that's a lot of people have those moments too. Um, but also B, um, that's all a part of growth in life. Like it's not always gonna be a ball of happiness. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
gonna be a ball of sadness. It's gonna be a ball of anger. It's gonna be a ball of anxiety. It's gonna be a ball of excitement. It's gonna be a ball of love. It's gonna be a ball of all these things. You know what I mean? But that's crazy. But it's literally the same story that everybody thought that I was just, you know, like around music, people thought I was this happy person, but then
Oh, wow.
everyone else who knew me, they're like, Clint's crazy, you know?
Well, damn. Well, I guess that's how it was meant to be. Cause see, when I met you and you seemed all happy, I was like, what? I was like, no. I was like, yeah. And then cause we had the same birthday. Cause I think all my life I had probably met one girl that had my birthday in elementary that I remember, but I wasn't into all that stuff back then, right? Just knowing about like, cause even after, right? Like after I got into the world of acting, so I was like, oh, I'm on the right path. Cause like, dude, Johnny Depp has the same birthday. Freaking there was like even this show called Good Girls. One of the main actresses, she had my birthday. Ray Donovan, one of the main actors, he had my birthday or our birthday, right? So all
Right.
these like actors, like even on this movie that just came out, like this what is it? Like a superhero movie. The kid, like he's June 9th too. Like some
Oh,
kid.
that's crazy.
I don't know if you know which one with George Lopez and
Yeah, yeah. Blue Beetle.
yeah, yeah. So the main kid,
That's
his birthday's June 9th. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
crazy.
So
I
I was like,
love Blue
oh,
Beetle.
yeah, yeah. I don't know what Blue Beetle, but now I do about like the whole thing. But yeah, that kid, his birthday's June 9th too, you know. So I was like, oh, and then even though not in real life, but in the movie Karate Kid, they put Mr. Miyagi, his birthday was June 9th. Like when he dies, you could see his tombstone. It says June 9th, his birthday. So like
Dang, that's
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
crazy.
was like, why
They
the
did
hell?
that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, yeah. So it's crazy, man. Just but that it felt like okay, it's like on the right track, right? With the acting and creativity, all this stuff, right? So I don't know, you know, I guess I don't know. I just took us in all these loops with that. But no, man, I want to hear about your story. Uh I know you told me like you've experienced a lot of stuff spiritually, right? So
Right.
it started since young for you. And so yeah,
Yeah.
tell me about it, man. Or tell us about it, like everyone that's listening, how what was like some of your first experiences and remember, you know, don't be shy. Like here, like we talked about everything you could
Right.
imagine. So no one's gonna look at you crazy or nothing.
Okay, so first of all, you know, I grew up in this I grew up in in church, you know,
Yeah.
like I've been to a lot of churches growing up, and I was raised Christian, and you know, but I've always, you know, that was that side of spirituality, but I've always been kind of skeptical about the spiritual realm, because I knew, like in my soul, I just knew that if God exists and the devil exists, that those aren't the only things existing in the spiritual realm. There's got to be tons of other things that exist in this world that we can't even see with our own eyes. There's things that are happening in the sky that we can't even see, because it's not comprehensible to, I don't even know if that's a word. It's the human mind can't comprehend what that is. We wouldn't be able, if we somebody explained it to me a long time ago in a youth group, that technically, like, if we were to see a spiritual being, that we could possibly die because our minds aren't ready to comprehend that type of thing. Like it would be too much for us to take in at once, that we could die in that second of witnessing something like that. Of course, people have seen ghosts and things like that, but like to actually witness like an angel or a celestial being like that, something like very otherworldly, um, um, I think would be a lot for us to, it would be like, it would be like going on a roller coaster 10 times in a row, but really fast. We'd almost have a heart attack because it would be like so much excitement. You know what I mean? Like what's happening? Like, what am I witnessing right now? So yeah, it started then, I've always thought that there was other things in this world, and then as I got older, and you do research on things, and you talk to people who have also experienced crazy things. It starts to like become more than just fiction, or to what people think is fiction, it's actually true, just like how now the government is admitting to there being aliens and UFOs and things like that, but that's a whole nother topic.
And we'll get into that. We'll get into
that. We'll get into that. But yeah, so I have experienced, like at a young age, I would have these I did experience the first time I had, like, I would say, okay, let's talk about a good moment, and let's talk about a scary moment.
All
Okay.
right, cool.
So I have experienced those good spiritual moments where it's like you can receive like instant healing from prayer, or um or just being around good energy. You know I have experienced that. Like one time, I was, as a kid, I wasn't feeling good. I couldn't breathe. I grew up with really bad asthma, and I couldn't breathe. I didn't have my asthma medication. So I was at the church. Coincidentally, I was at the church, and they were having prayer right at the moment I couldn't breathe. I was, literally thought I was going to have to go to the hospital.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they started praying over me, and that went away.
Wow.
And yeah, it was like instant healing. So that was the first time I experienced a good spiritual a spiritual encounter, because that I I felt like that was really God healing me in that moment.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
And there was this other instance as a child where I was asleep, and I know that they say that this is like sleep paralysis, but I think that's just something that a name to give it, for again, for the human mind to comprehend what is happening, because we couldn't possibly imagine it being something else. So as a child, I in my dream, I could picture my room as it was. Everything was exactly the way it was in my dream. It was the same twin size little bed that I had, the same blanket, everything. The door was in the same place. Um, and then the door was kind of like open in my dream. The door was kind of open, and then there was like this kind of like, it was like this dark, something dark, like floating towards me. And I had my back, like I was laying with my back towards the door, kind of, and I could just feel it. And in my dream, I saw it, but I could actually feel it coming towards me.
Mm.
And it caused me to like jump up
Oh, wow.
in my sleep. And that was the first time I think I was like, not even like, I don't know what, like 11 years old,
Oh, damn.
somewhere around there. Um, And I've had a few experiences like that. And I don't, I'm not a scientist, so I can't prove any scientific facts, or anything like that when it comes to stuff like that. But there, it's kind of like it's a feeling. I feel like it's a feeling like uh, you you just know. You just know. Just like how people ask you, how do you know God exists? It's you just know. You can't prove it scientifically. But I mean, if you look at the trees and the stuff that grow outside, that's proof right there. Like that can't just like pop out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It had to come from somewhere. The earth didn't just happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
People say it was the Big Bang Theory, which, that's the science. That's science, giving us human comprehension. But it's it's more than everything is more than just human comprehension. There is a spiritual side of things. So
No,
I
and just oh, go ahead, go ahead. I don't want
yeah,
you.
yeah. So I can't I can't 100% agree with science saying that that is sleep paralysis. I think that that can be a spiritual warfare or spiritual attack, because we do have spiritual warfare in our lives where the good spirits are trying to battle the bad spirits in our lives, and it's just like we're in turmoil inside. It's all happening inward, but if people were to actually see what was happening inward, they would see this whole war going on. It's not, it's not just what meets the eye. I'm a
Yeah,
firm
yeah.
believer in that.
No, and damn. Okay, so because you said that, like, well, first, what I was gonna say is like, see, in this world, science to me are the babies, right? Because even just the things I've experienced after that, you think what any scientist would have told me wouldn't have mattered, because I know like it was concrete, right? The things that I experienced. So at that point, a scientist will never be able to try to school me scientifically. I mean, yeah, school me scientifically in regards to something spiritual. To me, they're the babies. Like they would have zero authority over trying to convince me of something that I've been experiencing since I was little. Like this is like it will be my arena. Like you're a baby here. So I'll teach you something. Like that's how I would look at science when it comes to spirituality. Not to say that science doesn't have, because like you said, imagine there's literally things. I did this interview with this he's called the indigenous herbalist. I don't know if you've heard of him. He lives in or his shop is in Torrance. Have you ever heard of him? Or
I'm not sure.
he has
What's
like,
his
yeah, he
name?
has Jose, but he goes by in the indigenous herbalist, and
Okay.
he's in Torrance. I think that's where his shop is, or it's border Carson Torrance, like right there, right?
Yeah.
And like I think he even like broke it down. See, he was a little more science based, like in regards to how all these things are living inside us. Like, so even if you break it down scientifically, it almost is like your body is having a war with all the junk that they feed us, and these things are alive, right? So it's so crazy that, let's just say, like, if people wanted to talk about, like, I think science and spirituality is really the same thing. It's just that they try to tell us, oh, we know, so we're the ones that tell you what's real, what isn't, what this, that, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just that's how they have us hooked on so many pharmaceuticals. That's how they've been able to hijack everything, right? But it's funny, just that I thought right now when you said that about how there really is things living inside of us aside from the spiritual, or maybe it's connected somehow, right? But there's all these
Yeah.
entities like at all times, right? It's like your cells, right? Like when you get sick, the way they produce to combat whatever illness you have, right? And then they attack
Yeah.
it, boom, like a little army, boom. So there is things living inside of us. I don't know exactly what the point I was trying to make with that, but just to say that, like, as far as science, like, and you know how you said that people haven't been able to prove that there is a God. Like that's literally what my book is about. And I said that, even like I said, people aren't probably gonna pay attention to after I'm dead. But when I made the book, I was like, dude, I should get a damn Nobel Prize for this, because it literally is both scientific and physical proof to like the things people. But I don't know, whatever. Like maybe because I'm this bald-headed Mexican guy, people aren't gonna pay attention. Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh. But the book is there. People that have read it like could see, you know, the book, my 216 book. That's exactly what it. 100% proof to prove that this is a creation, right? Like basically that the probabilities of a big bang really at this point with everything I show in the book is zero. Like there really is. I literally showed like proof. I don't know if anyone has been able to do it in that way, but whatever, it's there, blah, blah, right? Just to say that, right? So I agree with you on that point. And to not keep babbling on. So I know you also told me that at some point you've touched items like that you experienced that too, where you touched items and something like that.
Okay, so yeah, I remember that. So going back to the day, and this is probably like if you yourself have ever experienced any type of psychic moment, it has to do with the day that you were born, and it goes back to that the book that I was telling you about called The Day That You Were Born. And I read about June 9th, and it said that June 9th, and it's not just there's other signs or other birth dates that they also have these types of abilities as well, but June 9th is connected psychically through this to the spirit realm. It says that June 9th has psychic ability, and psychic abilities are like different levels. Like I'm not going to say I can see the future. I'm not, although I am an intuitive person, but I can't say that I can see the future or anything like that. I'm not that type of psychic. And what I was explaining was that like if I were to touch something and it has a past like connected, like some items hold energy into them, like just like how there's like haunted dolls or whatever like that.
Oh yeah.
So some items still hold energy to it if, let's say, like a person was really attached to that item. So if I were to touch that item, I could probably feel the energy and the history that's coming from that item. And that's the type of psychic ability that I have. I don't have like, oh, I'm about to read your palm and tell you everything that's about to happen in your life. No, I just I'm the like energy type of, I guess, if you will.
So what's one example when you did that and you saw something?
So I remember I was sharing with you that there was this they tell you, and what's funny is you're not really supposed to touch stuff, but like so and I feel like, okay, I'll get to these other things too, because these are interesting points to get to. But there was this one time we were at this me and some friends were at the abandoned asylum in Downey, California. It's I forget what it's called, but so there's like if you go into like the old offices, there's like all kinds of old paperwork and everything that's on the floor and everything. So like I picked up one of those papers and like I didn't see it, but I could feel stuff. And whenever something like that does happen, it's like, I can't say it's like I get like a visual glimpse of it, but it's almost like I can feel the visual. Almost like I could feel what it like whenever I go to the desert, whenever I go to sometimes I like to visit Joshua Tree. Whenever I go there, when I'm in the desert and I'm just like looking out into the fields, I can feel when I'm sitting on the rocks, especially like when you're just like planted into the earth there. You can just, it's almost as if you can see it, but you don't see it.
Mm.
You can like see like the cowboys and the Indians, you know, just like going running through the fields on the horses and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You could see the wars that happen, the battles that happen. You could see the miners in the mines there. It you could feel, if you're a person that's like connected, like spiritually connected like that, you know, like if you have intuition or you're into that, you know what I mean, like you're in that realm, you're in that
Yeah, yeah.
realm, you know what I
So
mean? So
you've seen that in Joshua Tree then.
not with my eyes, but like I said, like as I was sitting there on the rock, I could feel in my mind, it's like it's a visual in my mind. It's like you can and you can hear it, you can feel it, you can you can do you can smell the air that from the history that was there. You can do almost anything but see it.
Mm.
So it's like you almost see it but you don't quite see it. It's just you're envisioning it in your mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see,
It's
like I don't know. Like to me, see, you saw it. To me, you saw it. If you're telling me you saw it in your mind, you saw
yeah,
it.
I saw because I definitely felt the vibrations of the history that's there. And
Yeah.
that's why I like to go to places like that, because I consider myself spiritual, not in a religious sense, not just in a religious sense, I should say, but because I grew up, you know, also um you know, meeting different people that have different spiritual beliefs. So I kept an open mind to I never shut out, you know, unless it obviously when I was a kid I used to be like, oh, you know, there's all the other religions are fake. But when you get older, you can't really say that. You can't really say that because A, it's disrespectful. B, you don't know 100% what is the real religion. And C, um, C, if you look at every religion, um, and what they represent, they all are pretty much the same thing. They all have, they all, for the most part, they all have this one um, person or this one source that they go to for higher help. You know, so it's all pretty much the same thing. So you can't really sit there, you know, as an adult and say and really sit there and say that your religion is, I mean, all religion in the Bible, it says that religion was created by the devil to confuse man. That is a true fact. So the religion is confusion. Your faith is what's real. Your faith in your beliefs, that is what's real. But religion, that's the confusion. That was all a setup. That was premeditated for us to argue over what was real and what was not real.
Yeah.
So
no, and it's definitely a fragile thing. Like,
yeah, it is very fragile.
Yeah.
It's
so that's why I know.
Subject.
Yeah, that's the same. Like, I won't ever. The only thing is me. I had to stand up for, take my stance, right? But I'm not for pushing my beliefs on others, right? Like, I think when people are ready, you know, they'll see more and more and more. Just real quick, like just to show, right? Like, there's things I never knew about, and I saw them, and then I was like, what in the hell was that? And then I looked it up, and then come to find out it was a real thing. Like, it was like this Hindu goddess appeared to me, right? I was like in my room, and the same. See, like how you said, your mind's eye. That's why, I mean, hello, we talk about everyone knows about the third eye. That was like originally.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that sees beyond what these two eyes see, right? Like that sees more clearly, really, but they've done such a good job of blocking it, right? But in my mind's eye, I was just in the dark in my room, and then boom, and this Hindu goddess,
Hindu goddess appeared.
Yeah, and I was like, no, like I could tell by the clothing that it was a Hindu goddess, but she was like scary looking, right? And I was like, who the hell is that? So I just knew to type in. I probably put scary Hindu goddess. Like I went to Google.
Was it the one with was she blue?
Yeah. It
she
ended
was
up
blue.
being her.
That
yeah,
one,
yeah.
like I think I know which one you're talking about. The blue lady, and she's wearing like all gold or something.
I don't remember if it was, but her name is Kali, right? She's the one that like, she killed like so many people till I guess they sent her husband a stopper, and I guess she ended up killing him, and then she was like, oh, and that's finally what calmed her down. She was like, oh shoot, like when after she killed her husband, then but nothing could stop her. She was just like killing everybody, but it was for a reason. It wasn't like she just went nuts for no reason. But anyways, they say the meaning of her is she's the breaker of obstacles. When you're in your life and you're facing something you just can't get past, she comes to help you. And I felt that vibe when she appeared, as scary as she. I'm telling you, you know how you were saying like how things don't appear to people because that they can't take it. So if I wasn't at the level I am spiritually, I could see that a normal person would have been freaked the hell out. Because it's like, I'm telling you, she was like, but I felt her energy. That's the difference. When you reach a level of consciousness spiritually, you don't look with these eyes. You feel. It's vibrations. Right. It's all vibrations. Her vibe wasn't threatening at all. And I sent her away. I prayed. I was like, I'm good. Like almost like if someone, someone comes knocks on your door. No, I'm not interested. It was like, I'm good. I was like, and then after I sent her away, I was like, wait a second. Like, I didn't feel any negative energy with her. What was that about? And I looked it up, and sure enough, even on YouTube, there was another girl that, I had the craziest experience. This goddess came to me. It was Kali. I never knew nothing about her. So I was like, what? That's my story too. Like, damn, she just appeared to me. I've never heard of her. Never, like, nothing. I just Googled, like, scary looking Hindu goddess. I saw the picture. I was like, holy shit, that's her. Like, that's the one that appeared to me. So that's kind of, like, just to say all that long story to say, exactly. We don't know everything. That's why it's very, but imagine that it seemed like she came to help me. When maybe whatever other beliefs I might have had, for some reason, she appeared and she wanted to help me. But I was just like, so even, when people talk about aliens, everyone's waiting for the aliens. Well, that's how I picture it happen. They come to help and everyone's like, or shooting at them or doing stupid shit. And then they go away the same way. Like, I wasn't ready for that. I was just like, no. Like, I'm good. And then after I regretted it. I was like, oh shit, she came to help me. So that's the same thing I picture with the whole UFO thing. You know what I mean? So blah, blah. I know you mentioned to me briefly too about the UFOs. Like, what have been your experiences? Like, as far as like UFOs?
So again, it seems to a lot of things seem to happen in nature or obviously outside, somewhere. But I was in the desert and I was looking in the sky and I noticed there was this red light in the sky. There was this red light in the sky that it was just going like, it was just moving around like, doop, 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 doop,
oh wow,
doop, doop. And like stars don't move that way. And even like falling or shooting stars, they don't even move that way. You know what I mean? They shoot across the sky. They're clear as day. You know what I mean? You can see them. That was like a tiny little red light in the sky just going doop, 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 doop. I was like, am I seeing this right now? What's happening? Like, my friend I was with, I was like, yo, can you see that too? Am I tripping? Like, what's happening? Like, is this really happening right now? And I'm just gonna go on record saying that was a UFO because I couldn't identify it.
Yeah. Where were you at when that?
That was in the desert. That was in Joshua Tree. That was also in Joshua Tree. Wow. So, but that was at night. So Obviously, because you can't see in the daytime. Um, but I feel like in the desert is where a lot of UFOs, they're usually, because they probably set up shop there somewhere. You know what I mean? So their crafts are probably hovering over the deserts, all of them. You know what I mean? Because it's an easy place for them to set up shop, and like if they need to like dig a tunnel or a cave somewhere, and you know, you
No,
know.
and I think light pollution is a big thing. Like, I mean, I remember once trying to take a picture of a comet, and I drove like 20 something miles into the mountains, and the light pollution from the city still was messing up my shot. I was like, holy crap, like this light pollution is really something else. So that's why I think because in Joshua Tree, there really isn't anything around that. Like, no light pollution, no.
Not when you get into the actual park.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, still like in the city outside of the park, um, um, there's still homes, so there's a little bit of light pollution, but not really too much.
Yeah.
But once you get into the park, that's when it's like if you turn your car lights off, it's like pitch black. You can't see nothing. But you could, I mean, you could see like you could see you could kind of see a little light pollution, but I don't think it's from those kinds of lights. I think it's literally from the stars in the sky.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's literally all across the desert, all the stars in the sky. You could see like the silhouettes of the Joshua trees and the silhouettes of all the rock formations and stuff like that. But it's pitch black, but you could see the silhouettes of things because of the light coming from the stars.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
You can see all the stars. So it's crazy. It makes you feel like you're like this small. And it also makes you feel like you're like this close to the universe, because you can just like, you want to like almost like reach up and touch the sky and touch the stars, because it seems like you're that close to them, especially when there's a big comet or a meteor going across the sky. It's like, yo, how close are we to the, it's like you feel like you're in the universe. Like you actually feel like you're in the universe. That's what the universe looks like to me in the desert, like looking at the stars in the desert. Because even, yeah, like you said, even in the mountains, you can't even really see the stars quite like that. In the in any desert, is where you can actually see the stars, and it really, really makes you feel like you're really, really like tiny.
Yeah. No, like I remember during the pandemic was my first time, because I think Joshua Tree you could still kind of hear some noise, right? It's not like that dead silence, or was it when you were there?
You could hear like if there were cars driving through the desert, you could hear that, or you could hear obviously the crickets and everything like that at night. But no, it wasn't like dead quiet. You could still like, you
I
could
don't
hear the
even think.
nature.
Yeah, and I don't even think I ever heard that like in studios where they have it like hooked up to be like, this was like a whole nother level of just like dead silent. Your ears were it's like your ears are tripping, but it's weird. It was like, I don't know, it was just weird, right? It gave me a whole different perspective like on the desert. But I was trying to get to this bridge like during the pandemic. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go get some drone shots. This abandoned bridge. And
You
then
have a drone?
Huh?
You have a drone?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, no, during the pandemic, I was just looking for things to do,
Yeah,
like,
that's dope, man.
Yeah, so I was trying to make it, but dude, it was a hot day. And on the way back, like I was about to pass out. I was like, oh man, I'm stupid. I was like, I know for real. I thought I was just gonna drop dead in the desert. And there was this just crazy silence. And even as I was making my way out, like this owl flies right in front of me, and I was like, oh shoot, like, because the owl, like, for especially indigenous people, it like means like it brings death, right? Or stuff.
Yo,
Not to me though.
Yeah. Yo, that's crazy that you say that, because I've been seeing owls lately.
Oh wow.
I've been seeing them. But they also said, because I looked that up, and it does say that it in some cultures it does mean death, but then also it also means it's a sign of wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I'm going with.
100%. No, I just this morning I took my dog for an early morning hike, and there wasn't now. It was like doing the little woo woo, and I was like,
I mean, if you're kind of close to nature, it's kind of like it's kind of impossible to not see them. It's like, so
oh yeah,
you can't really always think of it superstitiously because you're close to nature. You're gonna see it, you
no.
know?
Well, I think even it's funny because for us, like in the native zodiac, because I guess they have a native zodiac too, right? So in the if we're born on this hemisphere, the northern hemisphere, we're deer, right? For like June, or at least us, right? June, we're deer. But if we were born like in South America, we will be the owl. So the owl will be, yeah. So we naturally have this connection. Both are very spiritual. The deer, obviously, with the antlers, it connects. It's like antennas, right, for the spirit world. And then the owl sees between both worlds. Like the owl could see into the spirit world, right? So
yeah,
that's why it's funny when you said about how it even says 6-9, like just the day. But even like I guess June in general or Gemini's, I think it's basically for Gemini's, like we're either the deer if we're born on the north, and then we'd be the owl if we're born on the south. So regardless, it's connected, right? The deer.
that's
the owl.
crazy.
Yeah. So I've never been afraid of owls. I love owls.
I know they're really cool to look at.
Yeah.
I like owls.
Yeah, I embrace it. That's the first feather I ever found. Like I went up to this hill to pray, and I looked down, and there was a.
That was my middle school. That was my middle school mascot. Is the
the owl?
The Hughes Owls.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
so I mean, if you think about it, like whenever they show, like, whenever they show an owl in the media, they always depict it as something that's smart, like the Tootsie Pop commercial where the owl was like, how many licks does it take to get to 1, 2, 3? He sounded intelligent, or in what was that, Winnie the Pooh, the owl, he was smart. They always depict the owl as being wise and smart. So that's why I feel like that one resonates a little bit more than the owl representing death, because that's a little scary.
Oh yeah.
I mean, death is just scary. And I feel like with Geminis, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like maybe it's a Gemini thing that like we don't really, it's hard for us to accept death. I don't know if you feel the same way, if you're accepting
what way?
of it.
Explain.
Like accepting like people in our lives dying, like losing loved ones and stuff like that. Like that part is a little bit hard for me to accept, like accepting when they die. I mean, I accept when they die, but it's just that I don't like to think about when people are gonna die. That's the hard part of accepting, like the people that are still alive. I don't want to think about them dying. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. I don't know. I don't know if I mean, obviously, when my brother passed, that's been the only one that really, because of the circumstances, the way he passed. But other than that, I mean, I've been okay with it for the most part. Like I really, I don't know, But I guess it just depends how close, right? Like
right. I mean, and I guess it's also nurture versus nature. So even still, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's just maybe with you, the way you were raised, it was a little bit easier for you to be accepting of
I don't even, I'm cool with it. No, like I'm cool with death. Like, I'm cool with it. I feel like it's
I
cool.
mean, yeah, it's a part of life, right?
Yeah. I've accepted, but maybe because of that, because since I think I embraced my own death before, like that's for sure. I would rather see me go before I would.
Right.
Okay. In that sense, yeah.
I feel that. Yeah. I feel that. That's what I feel. I would rather, but then at the same time, I think about, well, then what if I go? How are they gonna feel if I go? They're all gonna be sad. You know what I mean? I don't want nobody to be sad. So that's where I go. I guess it's just me.
No. I feel the same way. I think, well, we overthink. That's a Gemini trait, right? Like, well,
Yeah, that's what it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's the overthinking.
We'll see every single angle of a situation, right?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it's just something we do, right? No, I was gonna ask you too about the plants, right? So obviously you're in a good space. Like, what better space to be in? Like, I wanted to put some plants here. You're surrounded by plants.
I'm gonna
So
have to give you some then.
yeah,
I'll have
no.
to
Like,
give you.
what's like I mean, have you had any feeling, like any spiritual experiences with the plants, or it just gives you like it makes you feel good, like something?
Yeah, it puts me in a good space. This is it keeps my for the most part, I'll say 98% of the time, it keeps my space with good energy because I'm always working hard to keep them alive. So
Mm,
they, they I guess in return, they they keep the good energy in the room for me because
yeah,
I'm working hard to keep them alive or I'm doing the best I can, you know, to
yeah,
my
yeah,
knowledge.
absolutely. They never like you never had anything crazy happen, right? Like with the plants or nothing, like.
Yo, okay, well, there was this one time, um, and I think it was just a sign that I needed to just like change my room around a little bit.
Oh,
Because I was looking for something in my room and I was already I had already talked about like I don't know what I had already talked about moving some stuff around or whatever, and I had this one shelf and I was looking for something and one of the pillows had rolled off of the bed and the shelf, it bumped the shelf and the whole thing crashing down. Everything, the TV, the whatever plants were on that shelf, some of the things that were in glass, the glass broke. Everything was like a hot mess, and it was just everywhere. And so that happened, and I think that was just a sign to like to change my room around. My room needed a new energy flow
mm,
because I think it was the way that it was set up before. I wasn't getting I wasn't getting good energy flow. So that happened. Now it seems that once that I did once I did that, and I had a little bit of a pest problem like directly after that. And I think that had to do with the energy flow in my room. So once I did that and I got everything pretty much under control, now everything's back to now everything's good. Now everything's Gucci. Now everything's flowing.
yeah, yeah.
Everything's flowing pretty good in here, and I don't have any pest problems.
Oh no.
Nothing's falling over and breaking, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, yeah. So
Uh,
what when you get a plant, like what do you look for? Like why do you have the certain plants that you have?
I just like to collect. I just like to collect them. I feel like I like to go for the jungle vibe. I don't know if that's because I'm half Filipino, but I just like the jungle vibe. I do it for to keep um a a lot of these plants are air purifiers.
Oh.
So they purify the air in your room. And then especially if you have like a lot of plants like bunched up together, it creates humidity in there. I also have a humidifier
Oh wow.
to boost the humidity in my room because you want the plants love the humidity to it helps them with their photosynthesis and helps the new leaves come out properly and all that good stuff. But it also the the humidity also helps the plants in the air purifying process with keeping like allergens out of you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
That's what yeah. So the humidity in the air, like most people like sneeze when it's like dry and
Mm.
dusty, you know what I mean? So the dust is instead of the dust just flying like loosely in the air, the humidity makes it all like collect lower to the ground, and you just sweep it all up. You know what I mean? It's like, or it's just the dust just like collects, or it like attaches. I don't know how to explain it.
So it
I'm
does
not
help.
a scientist.
So do you still have the asthma problem, or you don't have it
No,
anymore?
well, okay, well, I haven't had asthma for a long time, but
Oh,
that's
okay.
just because other things that because my lifestyle, because I started smoking weed.
That helped your asthma?
Yes, it
Wow.
did. It did.
So this is not medical advice. Anyone watching this, just I
This is
want to
not
draw this.
medical
Yeah,
advice. No, I'm not a
yeah,
doctor.
yeah. We're
I'm
not
not a
doctors here.
scientist. This
Yeah.
is just my own personal experience.
Wow, that's crazy.
And but I will say I think it has to do with the CBD side of it.
Oh,
That is, I think that's what helped, because even like in all, obviously CBD comes from marijuana.
yeah.
They extract it from marijuana, but it's just the cannabinoids or whatever you call them. It's a certain extraction that they pull from it, where it's non-psychoactive, where you don't get high or whatever. But I obviously they didn't have that at that time. That wasn't a thing.
Mm.
You know, um so I just, it was, and it wasn't intentional. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do this because I have asthma. It just, I had friends that said, hey, here, try this, and I guess I jumped off the bridge with my friends. You know what I mean?
Oh wow. Yeah, no, that's. And how do you feel since we're talking about cannabis and all that? Like now, now that it became legal in California, do you feel? Because I've heard like people tell me like straight up, like kind of like hush hush about how even some that's supposed to be organic, where they'll still use pesticides. So how do you even like being around like is it even safe, or how do you feel about this whole like everything with cannabis now?
um I don't.
Really care? Or
I mean, I care because I care of what I put into my body, but there's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? What I do is I stick to, I I I pretty much stop buying like the street stuff, and I just stick to a brand, and like a trusted brand, and
so
I
it is trusted, then whatever brand you would use that is
well,
trusted.
I'm
Oh,
putting my faith and trust that because it's a big brand, that it's trusted,
mm.
because why, hoping that they wouldn't screw people over like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And it's
remember, because I remember early on reading about how even Exhibit had started a brand, and then it was like, I mean, only he knows like the truth, but I guess that he didn't know that the people he was hiring, were producing all this and they all had pesticides and all this, and then they had to like scratch everything once it came to light that there was, the whole time like they had been using pesticides. But I think that was real early on. I think then he rebranded. I don't know if he started a whole new brand or what. So even though it was a big brand, like sometimes I guess that not to worry you. I mean, it's fine.
no, 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 no.
If you're good.
I'm totally aware. I'm totally aware of all of this. Because I've had this conversation already. Um, but I think it's just being aware of who you're buying from.
Mm.
It's just like um people that, okay, like, I don't have these types of friends in my life, but people who have their crack dealer, you know what I
Oh,
mean? They go
yeah.
to one person, I'm sure. They don't just go to a whole bunch of different crack dealers because they don't know if they're going to get a bad batch. I'm pretty sure they want to stick to the same batch.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's
Yeah, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
You're
I
funny.
don't know any crackheads, but
No, no, I mean not anymore, thank God. But no, I got what you're saying for sure. No, I got what you're saying. Um,
Or like, okay, like here's a better example. Or like for for people who like to go to music festivals, and of course they like to party at music festivals. They want to pop their pills or whatever.
Oh,
They have their people that they go to. I'm pretty sure, they're not just gonna go. Well, the cases that you see where where you see that somebody had probably like OD'd, they say they OD'd, they probably just got a bad batch from somebody, you know what I mean? That they didn't know who they were getting it from or whatever, you know what I mean?
yeah.
It was probably something like that, you know what I
That's
mean?
a, and maybe you're more aware, not to say because that you're more aware of drugs or anything like that, but I don't know, no, because I haven't really paid attention to anything. Do you know? Then I'll ask like that. Do you know anything about this whole fentanyl thing? Because to me, it's even like
No, I
I
do
just
because
oh,
I do because I I lived in Chino Hills for about like for a year.
oh,
Um like a couple years ago I lived in Chino Hills, and a lot of the teenagers in Chino Hills, yeah, it's crazy.
wow,
From like anywhere's from like 15 to like 20 something,
geez.
they were out there, like they were about that life. They were out there like um they were out there looking for anything they could get their hands on, really. The what do they call those, the ah not not Molly, it's the not Xanax. Is it Xanax? It's like Xanax, I think. It was like Xanax. Whatever was like Xanax that they were popping. Some kind of
Mm,
pill they were popping. But they would pretty much like it would pretty much make them stuck.
wow,
And it would like, why would you want to like, I mean, obviously if you smoke a good blunt, you're gonna get stuck if you smoke an indica. But I mean, but not like that. Because they would look like their face is melting.
oh wow,
And I don't know what's happening, but they just look like stuck, and like they couldn't even form a sentence. And it was kind of scary to see, because it was like, yo, why would you want to be like that? Who
yeah,
wants to like if they were to see themselves, if somebody were to film them, well,
ah,
maybe they would get a kick out of it. I don't know, but
hmm.
if that were me and somebody were to film me while I was like that and they showed me that, I'd be like, what?
Oh,
Like, I look like that? Like, no, like, who wants to look like that? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, who wants to look like that? Well, and I used to host karaoke in Bellflower, at the Royal Room for 4 years.
mm.
And that place like had tweakers coming in and out, like, and
Doing
I didn't,
karaoke or what?
yeah. And at first, okay, at first I was oblivious. I didn't
Eh,
know what it, because I grew up, like in church and stuff. Like, I didn't know like what, I didn't know anything about that life
yeah, yeah.
until people started pointing it out to me. They're like, no, that person's on drugs. I'm like,
Oh wow.
oh, that makes sense now why they're like all over the place.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and their teeth are falling out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
That makes
crazy.
sense. That's what they do to you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but um, yeah.
I guess what I was gonna ask too, like, because I never looked into it, and then we don't have to talk about that no more. But like, so what is the high that they're supposed to get from that whole fentanyl thing? Because that's what
I
trips me
don't
out.
know. I
That
don't
it's so
know.
dangerous. Like,
All I know
how
is, I
worth it
guess,
is it?
uh, from what was told to me from somebody, I'm not gonna say her name because I don't want to put her out there like that. But one
Yeah,
of my
yeah.
friends, she said what it was. She said, because she tried it once, and she said what it was like was that, I guess what people like is because it like gives you that close to death
What
experience,
the frick?
and it's like a crazy high. I guess it's like a crazy high to have a close to death experience without actually being in a close to death experience. So it makes you feel like you're dying, but not, I guess it doesn't, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't want to make it sound like it's cool or nothing, because
it's not cool.
I know, but who knows? You know, like I don't want someone to listen. Oh wow, like that's sounds pretty cool. Because obviously, just the amount of people that have died by that is insane. So not only is it,
I don't know who wants to feel like they're dying.
Yeah,
I don't want to feel like that.
Yeah. No, that's pretty crazy, man. Yeah, I don't know how we got all into that. Like, I almost feel guilty now because I don't want anybody to. So yeah, so obviously
we're not advocating. We're not advocating.
Well, I'm not
here.
for 100%. Yeah. So you're not. I'm not. We're not. Yeah. So I don't know why. I was just curious. Maybe that hopefully will bring awareness to somebody. Maybe it'll turn them off from that.
Yeah, we're saying don't do it. We're gonna be those parents with the Dare t-shirts on.
Yeah, man. What do you call? No, because it's sad. Like I've always wondered. I guess just that my curiosity. You know, Geminis, we're curious freaking animals. You know, like we're just very curious. Curious creatures. Yeah. So
I know people though that have been in that situation, but that's what also keeps me away from it, because sorry, I'm fixing this little
thing. Well, it's like when they show those videos of the police officers that almost die, even, right? Like that's insane. So that's what trips me out. Like, why would anybody even do it? It just never made sense to me. So I was just curious if you, I guess I've never Googled it or what to see like, oh, what is the exact thing that people feel? So that's why I was just like, maybe you met someone that, you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that. But what do you call? Oh, well, since you mentioned the karaoke, like you said, you have a show coming up. So how has it been with music then? Let's switch over to that. Let's lighten up the. I feel like damn, I brought it all the way down.
We're going down these rabbit holes.
I know, man. Like I don't know. Maybe I'll edit it out or something. If not, then whatever. But I feel like I just I brought the vibe down with the top.
No, you're good. No, you're good. Yeah, music has been pretty interesting lately, in the sense that like I'm just kind of getting back into it, because I unintentionally went on a break from music for a while. It's not that I said, oh, I'm gonna take a break from music. It just happened. And but I've been getting back into doing gigs again, and what was that? I've been getting back into doing gigs again, and I haven't really recorded anything new lately. That's the only thing. The gigging is one thing. Like I can probably go my lifetime. Well, let me not say that. I can probably go for a long time without performing. So as long as I'm able to still create music and put it out, then I will be fine. But I just haven't really been able to do that lately. I've been trying to get back into the studio. It's just I guess that, you know, it's just the people that I usually work with, they just, you know, like David Salas, he moved. A couple other producers that I work with, you know, they have kids now. Everything is just like changing, you know what I mean? So it's hard for people to just hop back into it and do what we were doing before, like the same way. So it's like we have to jump through loopholes now to be able to do it. So and now, you know, and especially now it's harder because you don't want to you want to be able to like put some change into people's pockets too, you know what I mean? While doing it, like you don't want to just like look for the freebie, because I know how that's like. I want to be able to pay, like if I'm requesting some type of service, I want to be able to pay somebody, you know what I mean? I don't want to, because I want to get paid if somebody's requesting my service, you know what I mean? Like I want to be able to get paid what I'm worth. Even if somebody is paying me, it's like if they're still paying me what they paid me 10 years ago, I'm like, yo, it's been 10 years, can I get a raise? You know?
No, I feel you.
At least by $50. I'm just kidding.
No,
But
no, I got you. I got you. That makes sense.
no, but yeah, because I want the same energy to come towards me, I think I want to put out that same energy now. I don't want to just like expect the free anymore. Like I know that because I know that too, that people do want to get paid. So I want to pay them because they want to get paid. So if I can't afford to pay them, then I won't request their service. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But unless it's like a collaborative thing where like let's both work together on this and create some type of project and put it out, you know, then that's different. Of course, I'm always down for something like that, for like we're collabing and we're getting ready to put out a project, and you know, you want your name to be on it, I want my name to be on it. Let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But if it's just a service being requested, show me the money.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And so you said you have a show this upcoming Sunday, so hopefully I'll have this posted by then. So maybe if people are, where is it gonna be? In Carson, you said, or Long?
Yeah, it's in Carson,
California, for anyone that,
yeah, Carson, California, not Carson, Nevada. It's gonna be at this barbecue place. It's called My Father's Barbecue. It's off of University Drive, I believe, and it starts at 1 p.m. It's a free show. The only thing that's not free is the food. Obviously, you gotta buy your food at the place to support the business.
How good is that barbecue? So I'll go.
I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if I've shared this with you, but for the past, I don't know, it's been like over 5 years now that I've been yeah. So yeah, I've been vegan, so I couldn't tell you, but from the looks of everybody else there eating the food, they seem to be enjoying it. So, you know, it probably tastes good. You know, it smells like it tastes good. It smells like it would taste good if I still ate meat. You know what I mean? It has that good barbecue smell. You know, all that. It smells like they got the good sauce there in the kitchen. You know?
So where is it again? Where did you say?
Carson, California, at My Father's Barbecue.
My Father's Barbecue. Yeah, man. I'm gonna
at 1 p.m. Shameless plug here.
Luckily, I'm not. Hey, it's all good. Luckily, I'm not vegan, so.
Yeah, so yeah, you can go enjoy the show and enjoy the food. We're doing like 2 sets, so we'll be there till like from 1 to 3 or something like that.
Are you doing like covers or original stuff or both? Or?
We're doing covers. We're doing covers because I'm performing with the Chris Miller band, so I'm just the featured vocalist for the band.
Okay.
I'm not like necessarily a part of the Chris Miller band, but I am and I'm not. Okay. I am sometimes when he wants me to be, when the guy when he hires me to sing for them, because sometimes he does have different singers. So it's the Chris Miller band featuring yada yada yada. You know what I mean? So
that's good, man. No, that's great that you're still performing and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels good to get back into it, because I feel like, I don't know, it feels different. It feels different being back on stage, or stage, because it's not always a stage. It's just sometimes just the microphone and the floor.
But, you know, I know, man. I know what you mean.
There's no actual stage, but it feels good. It feels good to be back doing it because it feels different too, because I feel like, I guess now that I've had some time to just like live life a little bit, not on the music side of things, I feel like it gives you a little bit of something like to use while you're on stage, or to use while you're in the studio. I feel like it just gives you a little bit of something. Like I feel a little bit more comfortable in my skin when I'm on stage now. I used to still kind of be like a little, now depending on the crowd or the, I still would say that the more intimate settings are a little bit more intense.
Really?
Because everybody's just like right there in your face.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, because everybody's all close in together. Like, it's just a small show where you might be performing like at like a little lounge or something like that, and it's just candlelit or whatever. I just feel like all the attention is on you because it's such a small setting. So it's a little bit more intense for me because I know I'm definitely gonna have to connect with all these people that are there, because it's not a whole crowd. A whole crowd, I feel like, is a whole lot easier to connect with, because you don't have to just focus on a handful of people to connect with. You can just connect with the whole crowd. I don't know if that's backwards for some
for
people.
me, I would think it's backwards. I like because when I would do like the church performances and everyone was there, I like that because of the rapping. Like, I wanted people to listen to the words, so I like that. That actually pumped me up, and I saw them listening. It brought it out of me more. But when I would be like, at a venue or whatever with more people, like, I don't know, it just didn't like. It didn't feel as good to me, like, for some reason, so that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's pretty cool. But that's cool though, man. So anything else we left out then before we go I know we were going to talk about the spiritual stuff, then we kind of went all over. Let me ask you that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying, I know, we kind of went a little bit off track.
It's all good. It's all good. No, that's definitely why, especially that, right? Too, Gemini.
Hey, but it's all a part of it. That's still spiritual. Yeah. Music is spiritual, man.
Oh, 100%.
Music is the spiritual realm. It's the sound of the spiritual realm. You know what I mean? Music.
Exactly.
It's how we feel. It's how I think music is the best way to communicate with somebody, because you're not, let's say you disagree with somebody, right? Instead of sitting there and arguing with them, it would probably be better to write in a song and say, this is how I feel. Just listen to this. And then if you want to rebuttal with your own song, then go ahead.
That's a pretty good idea. That's pretty...
That's what rappers do anyways. Like, those, like, that's Slim Shady trying to sit there and battle with Mariah Carey. I don't know why.
No, but unfortunately, in today's age where people get their feelings hurt, then they'll go shoot each other. But back in the days, obviously that's how it was with the battling, right? Like, let me just, like, okay, you say your piece, I'll say my piece. Yeah.
That's why I don't like guns.
Yeah. I mean,
guns, man.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, they don't bother me, but it's
I mean, they're cool. They're cool, like, to, if you go to like the shooting range and stuff like that. That's cool.
Well, I mean, the world will be better without them, obviously, but everyone. Yeah. I'm not for that. Like, certain people have them and other people don't, and then because if you've never I've been in those situations. That's where the people that are like, oh, this and that, like, they must have never had guns pointed at their freaking heads, or that thing when someone could take that from you. Like, especially as a kid, when I had that happen, and I was like, never again. Like, I rather, for me, it became like, I'd rather die than feel that again. Cause someone does at that moment when someone's holding a gun at you and you're like, you know what I'm saying? It's a cowardice on their part, obviously, right? Like, they're freaking cowards, but yeah, so it does that. Like, I'm not the 100%. I'm not for it. Okay. Like, if everyone just boom, all the guns vanish, I'd be more than cool with that. Like, that'd be a beautiful thing. But obviously, it's not like that. So that's why, I have no problem with guns and stuff. So yeah. There's nothing else. I was gonna ask you real quick, and then we could cut it right there. But
sorry, I was just looking for my water because I'm starting to get dry mouth here.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, just the last thing, I guess. I want, for a while, I wanted to have someone that was Christian talk about spiritual things, but I really don't even know what to ask. I guess Maybe
No,
just
I know we talked about, I know that you had asked about prior to that you had asked about we were talking about ghosts and stuff like that.
yeah.
I remember we were going to talk about that. And so I just want to share the experience because I think we're getting to that, but we didn't quite get to that.
Okay, let's do it.
So okay, so back back to the insane asylum in
Oh,
Downey.
the insane asylum.
Back to there where we were talking about the whole psychic thing, and when I would touch stuff, I when I touched like some of the paperwork and stuff there, it was weird. So, but okay, so I had to take a piss, and we are out in the outside part. We're like in this courtyard, so I had to take a piss, and it was dark. I couldn't see anything. I just had the light on my phone, and I was just like making sure there was no one there because I know that other people do explore that place sometimes at night. At night is when it's popular to explore there because people like to get spooked and haunted, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I remember I was just out there. There was no one there, but my friend was like over there doing whatever she was doing, and I remember it was like from where I'm sitting to like from where I'm sitting to I don't know, like the other corner of my room. Like I'm right here, and then that's the other corner. Excuse the mess. That's the other corner of my room. Right from here to right there, I hear from over there. I hear someone go, and nobody was there. I put my light up. Nobody. There was no person, no single person there. And that was the weirdest thing because I think that was the closest thing to an actual ghost that I've ever experienced.
And that was in the insane asylum.
Yes.
That's
not inside the building, outside in like one of the courtyard areas.
Yeah.
And I put my light up and I was flashing all around. There was no one there. My friend was like way over there.
Yeah.
And the sound came from like right here. Just like like I was like, what? And then I told my friend it's time to go. It's time to go. I'm not staying anymore.
So how did you feel? Like, see, knowing that you heard that 100%, like, how did you feel about it? What did it make you think, like, of all this, like, the spiritual everything? Like,
that was just another confirmation for me. That was another confirmation that other things exist than what they tell us exist. You know, and you know, being a person who's into like I'm into like comic. When growing up, I was into comic books. I was into like action figures, and I was into superheroes. I'm still into that type of stuff too. I love DC. I love Marvel. You know, I love all that stuff. And you know, but I feel like people's imagination come from some type of you know, imagination comes from something true.
Yeah.
You know, so like, you know, we did like whoever thought of, you know, someone who could fly, you know, or like even as far back as like that one movie, The Boy Who Could Fly, or even, you know, just Superman, or things like that. Like, you know, somebody had to have dreamt that in order to make that. Like it came from some kind of reality. Imagination comes from some type of reality. We don't always just imagine. It's not just things that are made up. You know, if somebody paints like if somebody paints an alien, like I have an alien painting right here. Obviously, it's from something. You know what I mean? You know, like it comes from somewhere.
Yeah,
And that
absolutely.
comes from somewhere real.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like when we dream, that's actually the spiritual realm when we're dreaming. And that's why sometimes we do feel like some dreams are more real than others, because, and like how I was telling you how when I had the one dream that, you know, that people would consider sleep paralysis, like, well, then why is, if it's sleep paralysis, um and I'm actually asleep and I'm dreaming, then why is it that my room still looks the same? If it was an actual dream, it would be a little bit different, but everything was exactly the same. That's why, you know, like, even when people say they have like out of body experiences, that only happens like when you're asleep, when your body's when your body is like shut down and it's just your mind going or whatever. And I think that's the out of body experience, is when you're dreaming like in that spirit realm. So, you
But
know.
just think about how we've been conditioned to say that, because, right, when you close your mouth, you're still talking in your head, like you could hear yourself. And that's how it is. Like, I don't understand why people don't see, like, it's like when we're driving a car, right? Who's driving the car? You are. But
Right.
it's the vehicle that's moving around. So that's all it is. It's like, this really isn't our real body. Like, there's that, I know we call it spirit or whatever, but it's like, that's our body. And this is the little vehicle while we're here on earth. This is what we need, you know? Just like, you know, we break a leg, just like you could drive a car, you pop a tire, you got to fix it. With
Right.
this little body, right? We break a leg, we got to fix it. It's the same. It needs repairs, all this stuff, right? But that body, so that out of body experience is you really just ain't your real body. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you're just out and about.
There we
Yeah.
go. Yeah. I
So,
feel that.
yeah. No,
I
so
totally feel, yeah.
so that's what I was gonna tell you. You know that yeah, it definitely didn't sound like, it sounded like you were just out of your body or whatever in your body.
Yeah, I was in reality.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
the realm. You know, that's funny because the root word of realm is, I believe it is real, right? Is it still R-E? How do you spell realm? Is it still
REAL. Yeah.
R-E-A-L-M? Yeah. The root word of realm is real.
Oh.
So, you know what I mean? If you think about that, spiritual realm, it's real. That's
That's
crazy,
true.
right?
I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah. So for me, it's like, you know, I'm sure like when we pass, well, you know, like the NDEs, like I've interviewed already, well, I think 3 ND, you know, when they died and came back, and they talk about how they saw everything and they could say it, you know, because that's the thing with NDE people. They'll be right there and they'll say, oh yeah, I seen, like, I remember one lady I was watching and she said how she saw, I think her sister or someone rushed to the hospital and she was still in her pajamas, like, and so I guess when she came to, finally, she was in a coma or something. When she came to, she told her, oh, I seen you in your pajamas. And that the sister was like, what the hell? Like, how did you even see that? And because she was floating, like watching them trying to revive her while like they see everything. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's so many, like, there's already like undeniable and like unlimited proof already. Like all these, especially the NDE people, they always say it like, oh yeah, we went and like instantly, and they feel no pain. Like it's like all of a sudden they just shoot out of their body, and they're watching everyone panic, you know. But we're like, when you're, you know, so when we die, we're just gonna leave this body, and we're gonna be like, like,
Yeah.
And it's sad because everyone else is panicking, running like chickens with their heads cut off. But
Yeah.
I guess once you go into the spirit, you're kind of just like, oh shoot, like damn, that's me, you know, like.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
that's the
like,
cases. That's what they say, you know. So
you're like, we got all worked up for, and that's all that what happens.
yeah. Well, yeah, right. But it is like, it's so scary. Like that's how they made us scared. And see, and that's one of the things I feel with religion, right? That, imagine the people that tell you, hey, we have the key. You want to go to heaven or you want to go to hell? Like, we got the key. You have to come through us. And I think that's one of the things that religion did, was scare us like into the after, right? The after, like, what better way? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
hey, you want to go to heaven or you want to go to hell? Well, you want to go to heaven, you better do everything we say.
Yeah.
Saying all that stuff. So that's kind of one of.
But nobody even really knows exactly what the original Bible even said, like word for word, because that was in a whole nother different language way before our time, before we can even, I mean, they say that they can translate it now, but it can still, excuse me, it can still never be fully translated.
Yeah,
It'll
no,
never
and
be
even,
fully.
but imagine, even the story of Noah was already in the old Sumerian text. It was the Sumerian text, they say, was like thousands of, like, just super old, and it was on clay tablets, right? On tablets. So I think when I was in college and they made us read this, it's called the Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh. Have you ever read it?
Oh, I haven't read it, but I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
Right.
and that was
I
taken
have
from
heard of
those.
that one.
Yeah, and that was taken from those tablets. And at the time, I think when I read it, they had only translated like 20% of these tablets that were like thousands of years old. The oldest writings that supposedly they had in history, right? Those were the oldest writings. And even the story of Noah is in there, but he had a whole different name. It was like, and it didn't say it was one God, right? It was like the plural gods. And one of them, when they had agreed to flood the earth because they were gonna like kill, I guess they were like, yeah, these guys are like, let's just kill everybody and start over, with the
Yeah.
flood. Similar, the same story as the Bible. Obviously in the Bible is to kill all the Nephilim and all this and that, but basically the same thing, right? In the Sumerian text, right? And then so then they warned Noah, right, and his family, but he had a long name. It was like with a U, like YouTube, something, like it was like a long name, not just Noah, and it was one of the gods, which I don't know if it was Gilgamesh or one, whatever. They told them,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
take your family, the whole earth is gonna flood, blah blah. So that story's in there. So it shows. So that's even one of the things, like the Bible. What if it's just that, like, there's so many stories throughout history and someone probably just put them together, but obviously there's still stories that were passed down, but
Right.
someone probably, so yeah, like you said, we don't know the original Bible.
And we don't even know exactly in what order all of that happened.
Exactly.
We really don't. We're just guessing.
Yeah.
We're putting a whole, we're going, I think they're basing it, I think that, like, archaeologists, when I say they, I'm sorry, I think they're basing it off of when they found it. Each artifact. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a good
They're
point.
probably like, yeah, because unless things were actually dated, like they had actual dates on them of when they were like manuscripted or built or carved or whatnot, there's no way to tell of what came first.
Yeah, and that's interesting, that, right? Like back then, it doesn't really seem like anything would have dates. Like, I guess more in what we would call modern times, at some point someone started saying, oh, now we're dating stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But well, I guess like Chinese culture did have, like, they had their dynasties. So I think if anything, they're the oldest living culture that, I mean, I could be 100% wrong, but because I know they had like this dynasty, then the next dynasty, then, so they seem to have kind of kept the record of their timeline, right? And
Yeah.
then over here we went by the before Christ, after Christ kind of thing, or AD, BC,
Yeah.
AD. So
because I think we can't, I see, and that's another thing, because it's like, what are we why do we just base it off of that time? Like, I feel like there's I feel like there's times that they're trying to make us forget on purpose, because, like, why is it just after Christ or before Christ, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I don't know, have you ever seen that movie Stargate?
Yes.
Where they're like, and then they go to this other, I don't know, planet or dimension, whatever.
They
but
teleport. Yeah.
And then the people there, it's like they didn't let them write, right? Whenever they're like writing, oh no, they erase it in the sand when the, I guess, whatever, scientists, military people, when they go and they're trying to show, oh, where's this sign? And then they blur it out because they're like, oh, the gods don't let us write nothing down. I don't know if you remember that.
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of almost like that. Like they just made us forget. I'm sure back then that's how it was. Like the kings would make the people they called peasants, like they wouldn't let them be educated and all. That's how they kept control over them. You know what I mean? But whatever, we can go down that rabbit hole forever. But no, like I don't want to keep you because I know I said like that was gonna be, you know, I was gonna ask you that last question about whole thing. So yeah, no, but that's crazy, man. So unless there's anything else you want to add, I mean, we could cut it right there.
I think we covered it. Covered it.
Well, let me ask you this last thing. Where are you at now spiritually? Do you feel like it's something you're gonna aim to try to? Because you know we live in those times where there is like a lot of people that wanna put focus into that, or are you just gonna let it unfold naturally? Like, what's your direction with spirituality?
I think I'm the type of person that I'll let it unfold naturally because I don't like to. I'm trying not to be in a space where I'm trying not to be in a space where I like force things in my life. So because that's crazy. I try not to force things in my life to like, because I guess just because of my experiences of like of just things don't always work out the way that you want it to work out. So you can't really force it to happen. You just gotta like go with the flow. So I'm trying. I'm not saying that I mastered that yet, but I'm trying to be. I've always kind of been like the go with the flow person, but I'm just trying to not force anything.
Yeah. No, I feel you know, because from my perspective, just my observation, I could tell you're tapped in. And the thing about, regardless, like if it's meant, the good thing is you're already open to it. So when it hits you, because I'm sure you're gonna have a few little awakening jolts as you continue in life, like because I've seen it happen, you know, and especially when people are already like somewhat tapped in, you know, you'll eventually go through a few of those. But the good thing is you're already aware of it, right? So it won't be so scary, right? Just to say, not to scare you that like things are gonna happen, but they are. You know what I mean? It just never fails. I've seen it like time and time again. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? So, all right. So, thank you, Clint. Thank you very much. I was honored to have you as a guest. I guess we're having technical difficulties right now, so we're gonna end it there. And yeah, check out Clint's show if you're in the area, right? I'll put something in the comments too. So if you're in the area tomorrow, Sunday, right? Today's Friday, so Sunday, Carson, right? So that's it. All right. So on that note, thank you, and we'll end it there. All right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.